This week marks the first 100 days of Donald Trump's second term, and today we observe the National Day of Prayer. How should we appraise Trump's first 100 days, and how should we be praying for our country? Here's the point. The last 3 months have moved at rocket speed, and even the most ardent left-wing propaganda junkies and the purist political policy wonks and the consummate critics, formerly conservative but subsequently dispatched, all have trouble keeping up with the Trump administration. The flurry of executive orders, now 142, and the most since FDR, were designed to stop the bleeding from the Biden administration, directly overturning 67 Biden EOs. Trump's executive actions were designed to effectively help America in three critical ways: immediately reestablish America's leadership when it comes to borders and immigration, our market economy, and global leadership in foreign policy. Let's not forget that among the biggest actions Trump took in his first 100 days, he moved quickly to completely eradicate DEI, gender ideology, and anti-Christian bias in the halls of government and in our education system and in the workplace across our nation. The message was clear. This Marxist charade in all its forms is the true threat to democracy and should be given absolutely no quarter in American public life. DEI offices across the country are shutting down, adding to the mantra as a policy that if you go woke, you go broke. There is no doubt that Trump has moved deliberately and methodically over the past 100 days to be a change agent and to contrast his leadership with that of Joe Biden. Perhaps the greatest campaign promise he made in 2024 was effectively shutting down the border. And today, illegal border crossings are down by over 95%. Under the Biden administration, there were over 1,800 known gotaways at the U.S.-Mexico border on a daily basis. Under Trump's leadership, Chief Border Officer Tom Homan reports only 38 gotaways in the past 100 days. And now the Mexican cartel MS-13 is designated as a foreign terrorist organization. Virtually all incentives and funding programs that supported illegal immigration have been removed under the Laken-Riley Act. What about protecting children against chemical and surgical mutilation? According to the federal government, under Donald Trump, there are now officially only two biological sexes, male and female. Our government is now in alignment with common sense, the scientific method, the rest of human history, and the God who made them male and female in his image. Our economic policy has shifted to put greater emphasis on building and making things in the United States once more, and taking care of the American worker who keeps our retail shelves fully stocked, and the American families who pay a heavy price for inflation and poor monetary policy. Finally, Trump has reestablished leadership and has reengaged our allies in the Middle East, especially with Israel, reversing Biden-era policy, which attempted to put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu towards a ceasefire in Gaza and constrain Israel's abilities to protect their own people or receive their hostages back. Trump has also sanctioned the International Criminal Court, which pursued criminal investigations against Israel officials after October the 7th, 2023, rather than focusing on Hamas, which orchestrated one of the worst days of bloodshed for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. There are many more accomplishments in these last 100 days, but I would be remiss if I did not talk about the National Day of Prayer, which falls on today, and how fitting it is that these fall in the same week. So here's the point. For every Christian in America, the changes we have seen in the past 100 days should always be filtered through the lens of God's grace and his sovereignty. Martin Luther once said that gratitude is one of the rarest of true Christian virtues, for it doesn't just look at the gifts received, but the heart of the giver, who is God himself. Today marks the National Day of Prayer, and it is a good reminder that we are called upon as Christian people, no matter the time or the place or the circumstances, with great urgency to pray for those representatives in government and in places of authority. It is a good reminder that even in the midst of secularism and a growing pluralism, that Christianity is still the dominant faith in the United States, a nation that was founded by Christians with a Christian constitutional system of government. It is a good reminder that when we read 2 Chronicles 7:14, we recognize that it was always God's people who must call upon the name of the Lord. It is always God's people who must remember and keep his covenant. It is always God's people who must point our neighbors and our nation back to Christ. Our republic was started by Christians, and it is Christians who will keep the republic. The founder of Liberty University once said, "Nothing of eternal significance is ever accomplished apart from prayer." Today, we lift up the nation in prayer, not only because of the last 100 days, but also knowing the 1,000 days that came before that. Today, we are blessed as a nation, and we are reminded that Christ is still in charge, seated on his throne.